You're listening to the Plane Talking UK podcast, the UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carl Stebbings and Matt Smith.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 104 of the Plane Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and joining me in my kitchen studio this week is my co-host Matt.
Hello, everybody okay?
Hello, yes, we're all good, yeah.
It's been a busy old start to the show,
actually. It's been a very busy start to the show, yeah, indeed, with me cooking and Matt doing his usual...
having his nervous breakdowns.
Breakdowns whilst doing the audio and visual stuff, but we are here.
We are.
And we're only 9 minutes late this week, which is good.
Yes. So it is, if you are listening on YouTube, obviously welcome. If you're listening to the podcast, the episode that you're listening to is episode 104. And it is 19th of March, yes, and it's just gone 10 past 2.
So we were due to have a guest on the show this week. Miami Rick was actually due to join us on the show this week. And unfortunately, due to some ground technical issues with his aircraft and some ground support aircraft, he can't unfortunately make it on the show this week. But... We will get him on at some point,
but at incredibly short notice.
Incredibly short
like
notice.
About 15 minutes ago, we do have a very special guest. So I'll leave you to introduce him.
Yeah, he's been one of our listeners on the show now for quite some time. I hope.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a good friend of yours, I think, in the technical sense, because he's an audio.
I'm very jealous of the picture I'm looking at in front of me. I have to say,
he's an audio and visual technical genius.
So pointers will be required later. Thank you.
So welcome onto the show, Nevil Bounds.
Good afternoon, gents. Hope everything is well with you, and absolute pleasure to be here, albeit at short notice. But
absolutely.
Absolutely nice.
Thank you very much. Yeah. This is good. It's great to have another. As I say, I'm the first to admit that I really don't know a great deal about planes, and it's handy to have a proper enthusiast, because we have got some very big stories to cover today, and I think
Pilot Pips in the chat room.
Is he?
He's just put Rick sucks every cloud though. Welcome Neville. Oh,
absolutely, yeah. That's good. Absolutely.
So welcome onto the show, Neville. You've I'm guessing you've been listening to us, me and Matt, rattle on for the last few episodes as such.
Yeah, very much so, and I think because it tends to be on over at a weekend. I'm usually quite busy at the weekend, so I very rarely get the chance to listen to it live. So the last couple of weekends I've managed to do that, though. So it's very nice indeed. So absolute pleasure to join you today.
Excellent.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I was actually I had a busy night. I think was it Thursday night, Neville?
Yeah.
Thursday night we. I
think it's safe to say you hijacked someone else's show. I think that's the best way to describe it.
We kind of hijacked the end of APG's latest episode, and Jeff very kindly gave me control of the chat room.
Yes.
And Neville came on board, and so did Micah, who's in the chat room now.
Yeah.
And Myla as well. She came on as well, and we kind of had an after show party as such.
It's kind of like the extra show, isn't it? So it's the APG extra or something.
APG
like that.
extra, yeah. And we had loads of fun, didn't we? He says he's looking.
Yes. No, it was good actually, and I really enjoyed it. I think the only slight problem is it was so late.
Yes.
I had a very early start the next day, so sleep was at a premium.
Yeah.
Sleep's overrated, though. We've discussed this before.
Yes, that's true.
I know my wife Gemma came in and gave me a really unhealthy look.
Evil look. Yes, that's one that's just like the one that would curdle milk. That sort of look. Yeah.
Oh, bless her. She does put up with a lot, but no, we had some fun. It was really good. It was good to have a chat with everyone and chat to people who we normally see in the chat room, and we don't get a chance to kind of chat face to face as such.
No.
So again, hello to everyone who's joined us in the chat room. Hello to all you who've come in there today.
I noticed some people also, if you are watching on YouTube, got an actual notification this week.
Yeah, the notifications have started working again,
which is
YouTube,
excellent. But yes, actually on that note, we do, as I'm sure many of you know, we do a YouTube version of the show, but that will never ever be a replacement for the main podcast. We had a tweet during the week where somebody sort of was concerned that we were sort of moving from the audio-based show to the video. This is merely just if you like, a compliment, because some of the stories it's quite nice to be able to show the pictures and the videos that go with it. But we accept, as I say, we never have any intention of moving away from the audio podcast. That will always exist.
Yes, so we've got loads of news to go through this week. Obviously,
one thing I didn't. Yes, it's
we haven't got a segment from Pip.
No,
Pip's been far too busy sunning himself.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he's in the chat room though, but no, he's had quite a busy week. So we look forward to a segment from Pip next week.
Yeah.
Possibly covering something that we're going to cover in a moment, so that would be quite good. So we're going to start off the show with the news, and as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So if you're ready, Matt.
Yes, I am.
Let's go. So, kicking off this week's first news story then, and this was some news that came in overnight, and the sad news, obviously, of the Fly Dubai 737-800 crash in Russia. We've been sort of before we start the show, trying to catch up on as many decent reports of news that we could find through the various places online, and also we've managed to find some ATC recordings as well.
Yes. Which we're going to play out for you in a minute, but we'll just cover the story in its year. So let's just deal with the text side of things.
Yeah, so the story then on Flight Global, this is kind of as recent a story as we could find in it. The Russian investigators have disclosed that the Fly Dubai Boeing 737-800 had already executed a missed approach at Rostov-on-Don before its fatal accident. The Emergency Situations Ministry states that the crash occurred at 03:42 local time during a second attempt at landing at night. Flight FZ981 had been due to arrive some 2 hours earlier at 01:40, says Fly Dubai. Meteorological data from Rostov-on-Don shows the airport had been experiencing rain and reduced visibility and gusting winds at the time of when the aircraft tried to carry out its initial approach onto runway 22. The aircraft aborted the landing and held for an extended period before a second landing attempt. This, if you go on to Flight Radar 24, there was some coverage of this on Sky News, and they had the flight plan that showed the aircraft circling for the 2 hours.
Really?
So weather information at the from the airport points at the to the continued presence of Columbia. I should get this right. Really, I've got to do my weather exam soon. Oh, blimey, I can't say that one. But it's clouds and rain showers and wind gusts. Gusts to around 20 to 25 knots. Russian Transport Minister Maxim Sokolov says the accident will be thoroughly investigated. The Emergency Situations Ministry had issued a manifest listing 55 passengers and 7 crew members on board the aircraft. Fly Dubai says it believes there are no survivors from the crash. We know there isn't now, unfortunately, due to the news reports we've seen. But they are working closely with authorities to establish the cause. Emirates Group, which was instrumental in establishing Fly Dubai, says it's offering every assistance to the budget carrier. Fly Dubai has disclosed just 10 days before the accident that it had joined IATA as a member carrier, which had required passing the association's operational safety audit last year. Fly Dubai's IOSA safety audit status remains valid until June 2017.
Right, okay. Well, what we're going to do now then, as I say, we've managed to find some ATC recordings involving the flight in question. And we've also found a couple of video clips which are going to play now. So obviously if you're listening to the podcast, you'll only hear the audio side of things. But I'm pretty sure these videos will be widely circulated. If not, obviously come to the YouTube page and you'll be able to see it from there. So we're just going to play those clips out for you now.
Okay, thank you very much, Scudaby 981. Tower Scudaby 981.
Scudaby 981, Rostov Tower.
Just calling you there to see you have any improvement on the weather.
Scudaby 981, now wind 230 degrees, 10 gust 14 per second, cloud base 630 meters, visibility correction, 6,000 meters, and shower rain.
Okay, thank you very much. Any wind shear warning?
By 981, negative.
Okay, thank you. And when you look out windows there, it looks better than before?
Skyby 981, moderate wind.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sky Dubai 981, monitor information, Bravo.
Thank you. Tower Sky Dubai 981.
Sky Dubai 981, Rostov Tower.
How is the weather, sir? Is it better?
Sky Dubai 981, weather at 0020, visibility 5 kilometers, ceiling 630 meters, 230 degrees, 13, maximum 18 meters. Light shower rain, mist, on final severe turbulence, and moderate wind shear.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sky Dubai 981, yes.
Go ahead for Sky Dubai 981.
Sky Dubai 981, 822, wind 230 degrees, 14 meters per second, maximum 18 meters per second, visibility 6 kilometers, scattered 480, correction 630 meters. Meteorological office not reported if.
So you kind of get the gist there that the recording goes on for another 5 minutes. Obviously, while the aircraft is on on finals, and
I should just say we found
localizer.
all of those clips on YouTube. So if you want to find them in greater detail, obviously, and listen to them in more depth themselves. But I mean, obviously, a very, very sad story.
Yeah, I mean, you could hear on the recording there that they said that the tower said that the visibility was 6,000 meters, and they'd reported no wind shear.
Right.
I mean, I've looked back at the video myself on YouTube, both the videos on there, and I mean, have you watched the videos, Neville?
I haven't actually yet, Carl. But just the thing that struck me straight off was with the flight time as it was. Again, I'm not a pilot, but I think I would have been thinking about diverting long ago, and maybe holding for, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes maybe, and then off to the alternate.
Yeah, there was a report on Sky News that said that apparently an aircraft that was on finals before this Fly Dubai aircraft came into was on approach. It had aborted and gone to its alternative airport. So it's it's something they'll obviously investigate as to why these guys didn't just kind of think, well, the visibility's not that great. The surface conditions may not be great either on the runway. So
I mean, either way, this is an ongoing story. Obviously, if we get anything during the show extra, we'll bring it to you.
I mean, the latest pictures that we saw on Sky News before we went live. I mean, the actual scene of the crash. I mean, it was total devastation. Neville, I don't know if you've seen the report on Sky.
Yeah, saw a little bit about it, and of course you don't know what the braking actions were like, aquaplaning, all sorts of things. If they've come in a bit hot, another perhaps, I don't know, 10, 15 knots faster than normal because of wind shear and this kind of thing, that puts a lot of pressure on getting the thing stopped. But there's some stuff that had gone on before that, and it's not clear to me what exactly has happened yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it came down at quite an angle, isn't it? That little clip that everybody's been running.
Yeah, Marsh has just said in the chat room, actually, what I said to you earlier, Matt, was on the video. The aircraft seemed to be,
quite an
really, really, really high pitch angle. Yeah. It wasn't a gentle, into the ground. It was kind of a pitched angle, really, like a steep angle heading right for the ground. So
it's just one of those where we're going to have to wait and see, I think, isn't it, before we find out exactly what's occurred.
Yeah,
not good either way. And obviously, I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of everyone. I say all our thoughts and prayers go out to anyone who was involved in that in
Very
any way,
sad
shape or form.
indeed.
From flight crew and pilots to passengers on board. I mean, it's all really very, very sad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they'll retrieve the data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be sent off to, I'd imagine, they'll be sent off to Farnborough. I think, isn't Neville? I think Farnborough does the downloads in the UK for the flight data recorders and stuff.
Yes, that's where the AAIB is based, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah. So
And do they do international as well as just us, or will they get access to the?
I think they're asked quite often to assist in international incidents as well. Not every time, but it depends on the circumstances and the protocols within the different countries, I would imagine. But certainly the AAIB in the past has been involved with international incidents. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So we'll leave the story there. Obviously, we will have updates on the Facebook page as and when we hear things. And also a great source of information for those of you who don't know already is also the Aviation Herald.
Yep.
Simon does a great job in keeping that site updated with great information. So keep your eyes on there, and let's hope they find the cause of what happened here.
Indeed, yes. Anyway, on to
next story.
On to normal service, shall we say? Normal service is about to be renewed, and surprise, surprise, story 2, even on a day like today, is, funnily enough, a Ryanair story, and it's always been left to me. So here we go. This is on the Breaking Travel News website, and the headline is Ryanair opens new Vilnius. Is it Vilnius? Vilnius?
Vilnius?
Oh, I don't know. Vilnius.
We need Jennifer on here.
Yeah, somebody quickly correct me. Ryanair will open a new base at Vilnius Airport from the 30th of October with 2 aircraft, an investment of $200 million, as Ryanair grows its Vilnius traffic by 16%. In addition, Ryanair launched its Lithuanian winter 2016 schedule with 2 new routes to Berlin and Malta and 3 new winter services to Birmingham, London, Luton and London Stansted, 23 routes in total, which the carrier claims will deliver 1.5 million customers each year. In Vilnius, the Ryanair's Chief Commercial Officer, David O'Brien, said, "We are pleased to announce our second Lithuanian base at Vilnius, number 82, from the 30th of October with 2 based aircraft, an investment of $200 million as we grow our traffic at Vilnius by 16%. Our Lithuanian winter 2016 schedule includes 2 new routes to Berlin and Malta, 3 new winter services to London Luton and London Stansted, and 23 international routes in total, which will deliver 1.5 million customers per annum and support over 1,100 jobs. Our 106 million customers can look forward to further improvements as we continue our always getting better program. There it is again. The always getting better program, which includes more new routes, a new app, new cabin interiors, new crew uniforms, and improved in-flight menus. To celebrate the launch of our new base and winter 2016 schedule, we are releasing 100,000 seats for sale across our European network at just €19.99, which are available for booking until Friday, the 18th of March. So I think we've missed it. No, it's today, isn't it? Yeah, no, it was yesterday, the 18th of March. Since these amazing low prices will be snapped up quickly, customers should log in and avoid missing out. Well, we already have, because obviously it's now Saturday. It's absolutely so.
But another great destination to go to. Paul Trick has just said in the chat room that Lithuania is well worth a visit.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, it's one of those European destinations. You know, there's a lot of different places where I'd like to visit. You know, and that's kind of in there with those. Because it's supposed to be quite a cultural type of place, I think, to go. So I wouldn't mind trying that. But another destination for Ryanair to send some of its new Maxes, 737 Maxes, when they get those come online. This year, I think they're getting delivery of those. Are you a Ryanair fan, Neville?
As I mentioned the other day, I've got to the stage now at 54. I really have become a bit of an aviation snob. And, that's not the answer people want to hear, I realise.
No.
I have flown them once.
Right.
I think it's from Luton to Kerry once. And, it's not my preferred method of transport.
But they are doing a business class aircraft now. We covered in the last episode. Nevil.
Yeah, but I just think that even that's a stage too far. I mean, mind you, the pitch looked good, didn't it? Was it something like
48,
58?
Or 58,
I don't know what it was, but it was an absolutely massive seat pitch. But no, I'm afraid it's BA from Heathrow for me, even if I have to save up for it.
Yeah, very sensible, I think.
Actually, I was going to say, Neville, on the subject of BA, how are they? I've never flown BA in all the years I've been flying. I've never flown BA. Are they, because you hear so many different mixed reviews and stuff. Are they a good air? Being our obviously national airline, are they good?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've had their moments in the past, certainly. I think that the product and the service is really good for me at the moment. I do a lot of domestic flying, mainly from Heathrow to Edinburgh, Glasgow, Dublin, Belfast, that kind of thing. And probably twice a year to the US, usually, something like that, and once a year to Amsterdam. I do like the product and the service. The crew seems to do a really nice job. I think the things like the captain's PAs and the first officer's PAs are really good. They always meet you at the exit when you're getting off the aircraft. That's quite nice. But of course, it depends on how much you want to pay, because if you've got a short notice situation, then that fare structure probably doesn't suit a lot of people. But if you know when you're going to go and you've got a bit of time to plan it, then actually the fares are comparable in some cases, not in every case. But I suppose why I like flying them is because if something goes wrong in terms of an aircraft has gone tech or there's an issue, there's normally a backup plan, because obviously the hub is so big here at Heathrow, close to where I live, that there's always a plan B. But of course, not so much so in the case of some of the other airlines. But that's you pays your money and takes your choice.
Yeah. I've when in the last few years, and we've gone out to Oman. And I've always looked around all different airlines and stuff. BA have always come out, quite a lot more expensive than some of the other airlines.
But
like
you do
Emirates
get what you
stuff.
pay for. There's no two ways about it, is
well,
there?
But the service with Emirates, when we flew to Oman with those, were really good. And Oman Air as well, a really good airline as well, service-wise. But BA do fly direct to Oman. But
really?
But the cost, I think, when we flew out last year was like an extra £400 or £500 on the ticket price just for me and wife to go there. But
which is not ideal.
it's something I wouldn't mind trying. I'd love to try their service to New York from London City Airport. That would be quite nice, I think, because we went on board their aircraft at Riyadh last year. Me and Pip went on board the Airbus there and had a look round on the nice business class.
As you do, nice. Yes. Having a moment.
I know. So moving on to the next story, and on Flight Global, and the Boeing 787-10 major assembly underway. Kawasaki Heavy Industries started installing circular frames into the mid-forward section of the fuselage on the 14th of March. So that's kind of last week. 2 weeks ahead of schedule, the manufacturer has said. The Dash 10 will undergo final assembly in Charleston, South Carolina, and is scheduled for first delivery in 2018. The aircraft is a straightforward stretch of the 787-9, and the two variants design and build are 95% identical. The third and largest member of the 787 family, the aircraft will be powered by the £76,000 thrust versions of the GE Aviation Genix 1B and Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engines. We are taking all the right steps to ensure we integrate the 787-10 into the production system smoothly, says Ken Sanger, Vice President of the 787 Airplane Development, Boeing and Commercial Airplanes. In December 2015, Boeing cleared the Dash 10 transition from detailed design to the manufacturing and assembly stage, also ahead of schedule. Boeing says that it has 153 orders from 9 customers for the Dash 10, including Singapore Airlines and United Airlines and GCAS.
Now, GCAS, they're like a leasing company, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a leasing company. Also, I know Singapore Airlines, they've just recently got their A350 XWBs,
Right.
and they are praising them no end.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of
Very
people are
happy with
saying that the A350 is pretty awesome to fly in.
Right.
So I don't know how comparable the Dash 1000 is or Dash 10 to the A350 XWB. Size wise, because I know the A350 XWB has a slightly wider fuselage than the Dreamliner,
Right.
and also the sides are not quite so curved, so to restrict your head height and stuff in the aircraft.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, I'm yet to fly on the Dreamliner. Have you tried the Dreamliner experience yet, Neville?
No, I can't wait. Actually, really looking forward to that one day. But normally, where I go to the Dreamliner isn't on those services yet, so I really can't wait to try that. Particularly, I think with the cabin altitude being so
6,000,
much less than a regular flight, it would be interesting to see what sort of condition you arrive in compared to a normal flight.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, because they've dropped it from 8,000 to 6,000 feet with the Dreamliner.
Right.
The cabin altitude is pressurised too.
Okay.
So you're supposed to feel more kind of like you haven't been in.
Right, feel a bit more like you haven't been in the airplane in the first place. What's the reason why it's set so high then?
It's all. I think Pip would probably chip in here, but it's obviously you have to pressurise the aircraft.
I get that, but why do they choose that rather than a more familiar? Sort of an altitude.
Honestly, I'm not going to say I know because I don't.
No,
but,
I'll take a bit
Neville.
of a stab at it.
Neville,
I guess it's to do with the construction of the aircraft. The 787 and a lot of the newer planes as well are all part of the composite structures now. So there's a lot of work done in composite materials, the sort of materials that are used in Formula One, for example. So extremely strong but very, very lightweight. And this has enabled them to have the pressure differential different in this kind of construction compared to the regular. So I think that that's what's made the biggest difference, and I think it will be the theme going on. I'm sure that more and more aircraft will be constructed of composite materials, and I went down to the Airbus factory at Filton a few years ago and looking at some of the things that they're doing down there, and absolutely fascinating day out. And I think carbon composite construction is going to be the way forward, and this will help on the longer haul flights for sure.
Yeah, it's all about the Delta P.
The what?
The Delta P.
We had to get that in, didn't we?
We had to get the Delta P.
Okay, that's a reference that's clearly lost on me.
I know. You have to be an AP. You have to watch the APG show to get that
one. Yes, I know, but it always starts at a time because I have to get up really early, and so it always starts at a time where I should have been in bed.
Pressure differential.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. My apologies.
But no, quite rightly in the chat room. I forget who it was now. The chat room's flying through. Someone said about the pressures being the same on the A350 as the Dreamliner, which it is. They are pressurised to the same height, so that's very much true.
Yes.
But,
anyway, on to the next story.
On to the next story.
And for some reason I'm being...
it's another Ryanair story.
I'm being punished. It's another Ryanair story. But, and this is actually on the Ryanair website, so goodness knows what fabrication could well be on here. It is... Ryanair celebrates 25 years of low fares at London. God, have they really been there that long? That's amazing. Ryanair's Europe, which is apparently, according to them, Europe's favourite airline, today on the 15th of March celebrated 25 years of low fares from the Norman Foster designed terminal building at London Stansted Airport. Since Ryanair's first London Stansted flight, Ryanair has grown from 2 routes to over 130, from 1 based aircraft to 37, from carrying 20,000 annual customers to 20 million customers per annum, and to carry 212 customers to 212 million customers to date. The UK customers and visitors can now choose 130 routes to from London Stansted and can look forward to further improvements as Ryanair continues to grow strongly at London Stansted. I'm not going to read any more of that out because it's far too much trumpet blowing for my liking, if I'm brutally honest. But yes.
But no, Stansted Airport. We've all flown.
No, I
we've
know,
all
I
flown
know.
from
No, well, and in
Stansted.
fact, Auntie Wendy is flying because my Auntie Wendy's coming on holiday with us.
Oh, she's flying with Ryanair.
Yeah, she's flying. With, no, well, she's landing in at Stansted because we suggested maybe
Oh, yeah.
going to Dundee or somewhere like that, and then I'll go and pick her up when we get there. But she's decided she wants to sort of tag in on the whole experience, shall we say? So Mum's going to go and pick her up from Stansted, bring her here. She's arriving on Wednesday, so I shall get a thorough report on her flying experience.
Oh wow!
Yes,
sounds good. Sounds good.
Indeed.
So next story on Flight Global, and it's a picture story, but we'll get the picture on in a minute.
Yep.
So the first Air Baltic CS300 in production. Latvian carrier Air Baltic has shown off its first Bombardier CS300.
Bombardier. Sorry.
On the, I knew you'd say that. On the production line, delivery of which it expects later this year. The Riga-based operator has 13 of the Pratt & Whitney PW1500G powered type on order. Air Baltic chief Martin Gors has distributed an image of the carrier's initial aircraft, serial number 55003, undergoing assembly. The airline says it will become the first customer to operate the larger variant of the C-Series when it takes delivery of the twinjet in the second half of this year. Air Baltic has options, on another 7 CS300s, and the carrier is progressing with fleet modernisation following a capital injection from a German investor. There we go. I'll put the picture on the screen there of this CS300 there with... there we go. Look at that. With the pre-paint work. This is look here.
So
with,
they're like an undercoat.
Yeah. It needs it's do its paint job, but it's kind of almost dreamlinerish looking with the.
Well,
with
it's
the
very
shape of
difficult
the
to
nose
tell.
and
You don't
stuff,
see a
but-
lot there.
No, there's
to
not
be
a lot
fair.
there.
No, indeed. It's they don't seem to have released a great deal.
No. No, it'd be good to see that with the actual Air Baltic colours on there as well, because they've got quite a nice colour scheme in their aircraft.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next story.
Yes, the next story is Flight Global again, and it's another picture story. And it's, or have I not clicked on? No, have I done it?
You've got it.
Yeah, I have
it's
got
there.
it. Yes, it is. It's another picture story, and it's Delta takes delivery of its first A321. So Delta Airlines has taken delivery of its first Airbus A321 with entry into service scheduled for May. The carrier took delivery of the aircraft registered November 301 Delta November and Mike Sierra November 6923. I've been practicing my phonetic alphabet especially in Hamburg on the 16th of March. It says it will ferry the aircraft to its Atlanta base on the 17th of March. Purchasing a new aircraft, and in this case an entirely new subfleet for Delta, takes a team of passionate and devoted experts armed with their insight, craft and know-how from across the airline to make that happen, says Brian Shea, General Manager of Fleet Management at Delta, in a statement. It's a great aircraft with fantastic economics and cabin enhancements aimed at improving our customers' flying experience. The airline plans to debut the A321 on flights between Atlanta and Orlando on the 2nd of May. Delta confirmed its A321s with 192 seats, including 20 in first class, 29 in economy comfort, and 143 in economy. It will use them to replace aging Boeing 757-200s in its fleet. The carrier has firm orders for 45 A321s. Flight Global's fleet analyzer shows it plans to take delivery of 14 more aircraft this year. Now, to be fair, they have to update their fleet colours.
I know
you love the plane.
No, the 75200s. They're just, they are. Well, they're second on my top 5 of favourite aircraft. Anyway,
Really?
yeah,
Yes.
after the TriStar, obviously.
Nevil is nodding.
Yeah, Nevil. Nevil is a connoisseur of fine aircraft.
Right.
He knows the 75 is a fantastic
and
aircraft.
when British Airways used to run them on the shuttle services between Heathrow, Glasgow, Edinburgh, and Belfast, this aircraft is seriously overpowered, and I'm never really sure whether they use those derated takeoffs as often as they should do. But honestly, even with the full load, this thing went down the runway like a scalded cat, and a beautiful sound to go with it as well.
Yeah, with those RB211s. Oh, fantastic
that's right.
engine.
Yeah.
Oh, they're still flying. There's still loads of them in the air, though. I mean, a lot of the cargo carriers still use the 75s, don't they, Neville?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, very, very popular aircraft and very flexible as well. I think there's a few that can be reconfigured, and there's various combi versions as well.
Yeah. Titan in the UK, they use the 7.5s. I think they've got a combi version. I can't remember. They've got a passenger version. But no, Titan use them, but they are still a really popular aircraft used by lots of airlines across the world. But no, that's good news for Delta anyway. With that, with some new aircraft coming online for them, because they're starting to phase out a lot of their older aircraft now. So moving on to the next story, and this is on Flight Global, and it's another picture story. When we're ready with Matt, we'll bring it up. So the headline, TAM or TAM operates first A350 international flight. So Brazil, their TAM has operated its first A350 international flight with service to Miami. I wonder whether they saw Rick while they were there. It landed early this week. The aircraft arrived to a water cannon salute after a flight from Sao Paulo. Blimey, it's another one to pronounce that. Guarulhos. See, if Rick was here, he'd be able to pronounce that.
Guarulhos. That's what I'm going to go with, Guarulhos.
And it was due to return to Sao Paulo later that day. TAM operated its first A350 revenue service in February, with service between Sao Paulo and Manaus. It took delivery of the aircraft in December last year, and TAM has said that it plans to operate the type to Madrid in April, followed by New York, John F. Kennedy, and Orlando in July. The subsidiary of LATAM Airlines Group holds orders for 27 A350s, comprising of 15 A350-900s and 12 A350-1000s that will be delivered through 2021. Its A350-900s are configured with 348 seats on board, 30 in business class and 318 in economy. So if Matt will bring that up on there, you can see there's a picture there of TAM's Airbus A350 there in the full TAM, the colours there in the logo.
There's a very nice sunset behind it.
It's a lovely picture, that one.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we've got one there of, there we go, the America's first A350 XWB. There we go.
Cool.
Nice little
I'm
shot
going to ask a very silly question now. What are those things sticking out? They look like taps.
They're machine guns.
They're machine guns. Oh, okay. I just wondered.
No, they are pitot tubes.
Right. Okay. And what do they do?
And they detect the airspeed and stuff. They send airspeed signals to the flight deck. Yeah. There's normally one for the captain and one for the first officer.
Right.
There, and they also have some normally the other side as well as a kind of redundant backup. And I think that below that you've got a static port for.
Okay.
So there we go.
Well done.
No, get involved, man.
Sorry, it's because as I say, it's trying to learn as we go along. You see here, I've got no idea.
Put you on the spot, Neville. While you're here, we'll put you on the spot as a quick guest that you've been.
Run, Neville, run.
What are you a favourite person of the Boeing products or the Airbus products?
Yeah, I got to like the Airbus a lot actually over the years, particularly when British Airways changed from the 737-400 series to the Airbus fleet for the short haul ops. But actually, the Airbus is a pretty flexible machine because in the in medium haul as well, it's really quite nice. So the other last week I was over in Fuerteventura and we took an A320 from Gatwick to Fuerteventura, and that's about just on a 4-hour flight in each direction. Very comfortable indeed. I must say I do prefer the Airbus in turbulent conditions as a passenger. It really does seem to be a little bit more stable than the Boeing product. But again, this is purely from a passenger standpoint and not as an operational crew. So, I do like the Airbus product, I must say. And of course, when it first came out all those years ago, there was a lot of question about the fly-by-wire part of it. How much redundancy was there? Why wasn't there lots of mechanical backup everywhere? But as it's turned out over the years, the reliability of the systems has been fantastic. And yes, there are failures from time to time, but there's so much redundancy on board the aircraft. These failures are extremely rare and can be easily managed, it seems.
Yeah, I've been on the 380 now quite a few times, and in pretty rough kind of weather.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I mean, for such a huge aircraft, it's like being on a magic carpet. It's so smooth. It really is. No, I have to say, I do prefer the Boeing kind of things, sort of products myself.
Yeah.
But I have to say, the 380 is a lovely aircraft to be a passenger on, even in economy. But
Wow.
But no, both the Emirates and the Qantas 380 that I flew on were were really good. There's the actual space, the feel of the cabin and everything. It is a huge aircraft anyway, but the way that Airbus have kind of got everything positioned, gives it quite an airy feel, which is good.
Yeah.
Have you sampled the 380 experience yet, Neville?
I haven't, no. And again, looking forward to a trip where I can take that somewhere. It's my other half's. She's got a very significant birthday in about 18 months,
Right.
2
Yeah.
years' time.
21st,
So,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. So I'm trying to save up to take us somewhere for that birthday. And a prerequisite is that it has to be on an A380.
Oh, right. Oh,
even though it's her birthday. And actually, she's not a mad keen flyer either. She's not. I mean, we could not be too more different people. She hates it and I love it, basically. So I'd really try my hardest to get her on the the nicest possible flight, the nicest possible seat. And obviously there's a cost associated with that. But I'm trying to find some an A380 route which we can go on.
I have to be brutally honest with you. We have a similar problem here in the studio because I'm absolutely terrified of flying. I can't think of anything more frightening than being in an aeroplane. And my colleague, Mr. Stebbings here, is very much the opposite of exactly that.
I love the longer flights.
No.
I'd love an 18, 19 hour, like the ones we covered in a few stories back, a few episodes back. The longer the better. I just love being
I've got to
in
say,
that.
actually, Matt, that when I first left school at 16, I had a real fear of flying. It was very, very noticeable, and it took me a while to conquer it. But of course, we're going back a long way now, and I was so fortunate that the BA crews and the British Midland crews that I used to whose planes I used to fly on at that time were so generous, because they said, well, would you like to come up and join us on the flight deck, be on the jump seat for the landing, this kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
And of course this is all prior to 9/11, and do you know what, it made such a difference to the way I felt about aviation, rather than just something that got in the way and that was a nuisance and I hated. I actually developed a real passion for it at that time, and I'm sure there are a lot of other people as well that if they'd had the chance to be on the jump seat for 3 or 4 times and they could see it all happening out the front, and just get a feel for how the crews operate these aircraft, it makes a heck of a difference. And it's such a shame that we'll never be able to do that again.
You're completely right, actually.
Yeah,
I keep meaning I do need to chat to Captain Al, don't I, because he specialises in this
you
sort
should
of
do.
things, doesn't he?
You should do.
And try and get myself. But no, a very good point, Neville. As I say, it's I was never given that opportunity. Perhaps that's one of those reasons. Why.
You should ask Matt as well. I should say this to you before, really, that when you go on these trips on the planes and stuff, even with Ryanair, a lot of the flight crew, a lot of the captains and first, all the crew, they don't mind passengers if there is time, obviously. For a flight deck visit before
you
take off.
I mean, I have had where I've obviously put out that vibe, if you like, that I look a bit nervous, shall we say, and I have had cabin crew come up to me and sort of say, "Are you all right? Is there any questions you want to ask?" and all that kind of thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've never had, apart from one Ryanair flight, but then there we are. I've never had a negative experience with regard to cabin crew. They've always been nothing but lovely. It's just one of those
but
things.
You should definitely try. Especially if you go long haul again, because obviously, like we said earlier, we're both winning the lottery tonight. So
a lot of the mainline airlines as well. I know that Virgin Atlantic and British Airways and others do it as well. The fear of flying courses that they do are very, very effective. People that I know that have been on, they spend, half a day or 3/4 of a day in a hotel, and they talk to pilots, and they get a lot of briefing about everything to do with their fears and anxieties.
Yeah.
And then they go on a 45-minute flight, normally base to base, Heathrow to Heathrow or Gatwick to Gatwick. And the vast majority of people that have come off that flight have said, I just don't know what all the fuss was about. I've just no idea why I felt like this. So it's definitely worth chatting to Captain L, I would say.
I can do it. I mean, I can get on an aeroplane because, at the end of the day, it's the lesser of two evils. If I want to go and spend some time in a nice hot country somewhere, then I accept I've got to go on an aeroplane and do it. But I mean, I'd love to get into a situation like where we're having this chat here, and that everybody, actually get a love of flying. I really would like to get that. But we'll have to see. I think it's probably just worth mentioning while I just glanced at the chat room. Apparently, it's Mila's birthday tomorrow.
Mila's birthday.
Mila, sorry, I keep doing that.
Yes, it's Mila's birthday
tomorrow. Honestly, you can't get the staff, can you?
Oh, Mila's birthday. She's 18.
Right. Okay. Yes. Absolutely. I'm waiting for my P45. I keep hoping Carlos is going to sack me.
She's 18, just like I'm 21 in August this year.
Yeah. Whatever. Was that 21 plus V18? Okay.
Yeah, I know. Terrible.
But anyway, yes, on to the next story.
Next story, Flight Global, this one. And the headline, this is picture as well. We've got some pictures on this one.
Right, okay.
So the headline, A320neo makes air show debut in India. The A320neo, or new engine option, has made its air show debut at the India Aviation event in Hyderabad. The aircraft bearing registration Victor Tango India Tango Charlie is the first of the type to enter the Indian low-cost carrier's fleet. It will appear on static display at the show, and the aircraft is equipped with Pratt & Whitney PW1100G engines. It was originally delivered to the airline on the 11th of March, making Indigo the second carrier to receive the re-engined variant of the popular A320 airliner after Lufthansa. The Indigo is the largest customer for the A320 with orders for 430 of the type. The A320neo's appearance at what is relatively a small show comes after the A320neo failed to make an appearance at the Paris Air Show in June last year and the Dubai Air Show in November last year, and also the Singapore Air Show in February. Other aircraft featured on the India Aviation static display are an Emirates A380, Qatar Airways A350-900, and the first time the A350s appeared at the show, and also an AirAsia XA330 as well, and also a Boeing 787-9 operated by Etihad. India provides a significant amount of passenger feed to the Persian Gulf hubs operated by Emirates, Qatar and Etihad. And we'll just scroll up to the picture there of the aircraft there. There we go.
Lovely.
With some employees of Indigo with the new Neo there. And if we move down to, here we go, to this one here, you'll see, there we go, in the nice, as blue is my favourite colour.
Yeah, well, yes, obviously.
I like their colours of their aircraft there.
Yeah, that's it. Going back to the story we were talking about a moment ago, it has to be said. Graham's just put something in the chat room that's made me laugh. It says, education is the best way to solve being scared of flying, though a more entertaining way to do it is to read a book of how to land an A330 next to two people scared of flying.
I think I've seen that book. I'm sure that book was written by James May.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
because I know that because we printed it.
Oh, right. Oh, of course. Yeah,
the company I work for printed that book, so right. I do know that book very well.
Why haven't you got me one?
Well, I've got it. I've got a copy of it somewhere actually upstairs, so I'll have to get you one.
Lovely. Yes, I'll have to have that for next time I get on a Ryanair flight. Yeah.
So next story is another story from India. Look.
Yes. Okay. Good. Yes, and it is on Flight Global again. We'll explain why everything's from Flight Global more or less shortly. But yes, India is to require 1,600 new aircraft by 2032. This is according to Airbus. Airbus is forecasting that India will need over 1,600 new passenger and freighter aircraft by 2034 to keep up with the pace of growth and demand. In a forecast released at the India Aviation Air Show in Hyderabad, we'll go with that. The European airframer estimates that the total value of sales will come in at around $200 $124 billion. The 1,600 aircraft comprise of 1,230 single-aisle jets and 380 wide-body and freighter aircraft. The aircraft sales forecast is based on a projection that Indian traffic growth will reach 8.4% per annum over the next 20 years, above the world's average of 4.6%. Domestic Indian traffic will grow at a fast rate of 9.3%. India will become the world's leading emerging aviation market and the third largest aviation market by 2034. This is according to Airbus's predictions. Aviation in India has a bright future, says the Executive Vice President of Marketing and Strategy, Kiran Rao. As India industrial might grows, along with it comes economic development, wealth generation, and a rise in the number of regular and first-time flyers. Jute van der Heijden, is the Vice President of Marketing for Asia, expects an average of 1 Airbus aircraft to be delivered per week in India over the next 10 years. In addition, Airbus forecasts that by 2035, the number of Indian cities with over 1 million monthly air passengers will be more than triple.
Airbus, do you know how many people they employ?
1,000.
74,000 staff.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
Which is a lot of people,
it is. I mean, it makes sense, isn't it? Because I mean, it's by sheer definition, the population is growing at an alarming pace.
Oh yeah, India's a huge market for aviation. I know.
Absolutely, I do feel perhaps they ought to concentrate more on dealing with sort of poverty and slums and things like that, perhaps before they start worrying about. But then I suppose the answer is if you improve the industry to which everyone is in, and therefore create more jobs and things, perhaps everybody automatically comes out of.
That's it. I mean, their short haul fleets in India and stuff are pretty huge as well. They're short hop. They use a lot of the smaller Airbus and Boeing products for the short haul stuff. Yeah. But the country I'd like to visit as well, for many reasons, India. It'd be nice to go there for a trip.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Next story on the Telegraph. I found this one earlier this week actually, and it's one I wanted to include in the show this week, and it's on the Telegraph site. The headline is Royal Brunei Airlines first all-female pilot crew lands in Saudi Arabia, where women are forbidden from driving.
Really?
So the pilots were fine to land the plane in Saudi Arabia, but they have to make sure a man picks them up from the airport.
Oh, for goodness sake.
An all-female pilot crew touched down in Saudi Arabia last week, highlighting the absurdity of laws preventing women from driving cars. Once grounded, the Royal Brunei pilots would have risked arrest if they attempted to drive a motor vehicle on the kingdom's roads.
Right.
Having an all-female crew was a massive milestone for Royal Brunei Airlines, but it threw into relief the absurdity of women not being allowed to drive when they touched down in Saudi Arabia. To mark Brunei's National Day, which celebrates the country's independence, Captain Sharifa... I hope to pronounce it right. Captain Sharifa Shazarina Surani, Senior First Officer Dak Nadia Pankashim, and Senior First Officer, I'll probably ruin these completely, Sarina Norden flew flight BI-081 to the Middle Eastern country at the end of February. This came 3 years after the Captain Sharifa Shajra. Oh, blimey! These are absolutely horrible to pronounce. Became the first female captain of a flag carrier in the Southeast Asia. In 2012, she told the Brunei Times, being a pilot, people normally see it as being a male-dominant occupation. As a woman, a Bruneian woman, it's such a great achievement. It's really showing the younger generation, or the girls especially, that whatever they dream, they can achieve.
I must admit, one thing that very, very really disturbs me genuinely
is the
fact that it's 2016 and that stories of this nature are still making news. I think that's the thing that disturbs me the most about this is, I mean, there's no reason why there shouldn't be 100% equality in this day and age. And I just find it disturbing still in 2016 that this sort of story is still big news.
female pilots.
Yeah.
I know. There are more and more.
Well,
now.
and the fact that
there
they're
are
not-
more and more now, for sure.
And
across
they're
Europe.
not allowed to drive in their own country. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I guess we're lucky that we live in a country where it is. I mean, I know they still. I know women in general do still struggle with a little bit of sort of equality in the workplace and things like that. But it's just very bizarre in this day and age. Really, we've evolved as a species so much, and then you just get the odd hiccup like this.
But we've got a few in the chat room of young lady pilots in the chat room.
Absolutely,
So
taking over the world.
I know, taking over the chat room. all the strong female pilots in the chat room there.
Yeah.
Well done to you. You know who you are.
Right. Okay.
So next story. Yep. Moving on to the breaking news site. This one.
Yes. Okay. Yes, and this is. It is on the breaking news site, as Carl says, and the headline is Finnair launches first A350 XB service to Hong Kong. So Finnair's Airbus A350 XWB, what does the XWB stand for?
Extra wide body.
Okay, thank you. Customers flying between Hong Kong and Helsinki can now experience Finnair's A350 next generation technology and comfort. As the first airline to introduce the A350 to a Hong Kong route, Finnair's never mind. Yeah,
strategic.
Indeed. No, it's Finnair's strategy focuses on the Asian market. Together with Shanghai, Bangkok, and Beijing, Hong Kong is among the first destinations to experience the Finnair A350 aircraft within long-haul operations. Finnair expects to have 7 aircraft by the end of 2016 and intends to double Asian traffic by 2020. This is the biggest investment in Finnair history. Being among the first airlines to order, we expect the investment to enable growth both in our passenger services as well as in our cargo traffic. Time has proven that the market believes in this concept since the first A350 arrives in Asia, and the experience is more than satisfactory in terms of reliability, performance and customer experience, says Lars Olofsson. He's the sales director of Greater China Finnair. As one of the most important routes, we are excited to see the strong growth in the Hong Kong market. With the first A350 to fly a Hong Kong route, travellers will enjoy a new sense of flying brought by Finnair. The bright and spacious award-winning cabin featuring large panoramic windows, in-flight Wi-Fi, brand new entertainment system, tailored signature menu. Finnair A350 brings all the luxuries you could have ever imagined in air travel. With the Finnair A350, we want to offer you the best experience of Nordic hospitality.
Oh, nice. I do like the Finnair, the colour scheme as well on their aircraft.
Yeah, is it pink?
No, it's not pink.
Oh, right.
No.
Okay.
No. Have you tried many of the European carriers out, Neville?
Yeah, I have actually, Carlos. I worked in Sweden for about, let me think, about 5 or 6 years on and off. And so I regularly flew SAS from Heathrow through to Denmark and Sweden, and flew Finnair quite a lot during that time as well. And they were always a very big McDonnell Douglas customer, really big into the MD-81 series, 82, 83 and 87. And they had fantastic reliability from that aircraft as well over many, many years. It was a very economical aircraft for them to fly as well. And but they, a few years ago, switched to an Airbus and Boeing fleet, so the 737-600s, A320s, A321s. But I very much like the Scandinavian airlines, and I think the other airlines as well. I tend to have flown Lufthansa a number of times, Swiss Air, Austrian, and a few others as well. But I think the Scandinavians have always had a nice product, actually.
And quite a relatively new fleet as well. I think Finnair have got quite a young fleet of aircraft, and they're obviously buying new stuff all the time, which is quite good. Yeah. But I've definitely got to. That's one I've got to try, the A350 and the Dreamliner. I really do need to. When I book the flights for the long haul this year, I'm going to try try and book one that flies a
Long haul.
Dreamliner.
Where are you off to this time?
Or a 350. Well, we might go back to Oman again. I don't know.
Oh, really?
It depends how
Yeah.
we feel.
Yeah.
It's a nice country.
Indeed.
So next story,
Yep.
moving on, the last story,
Yep.
and this one on Flight Global, and is Neville's camera back again?
No.
Neville,
I'll deal
Neville
with that
froze
in
a bit
break.
there.
Yes,
He's a bit
absolutely.
frozen.
Audio was fine, but
Audio's fine, Neville, but your camera's a bit frozen there. So on the Flight Global, the headline: Amazon signs 20 aircraft lease deal with ATSG. Cargo Carrier Air Transport Services Group, ATSG, has reached an agreement to operate 20 Boeing 767 freighters for online retailer Amazon.com, a move that expands Amazon's reach into the package delivery business. The deal, announced on the 9th of March by Wilmington, Ohio-based ATSG, also gives Amazon.com the option to purchase up to 19.9% of ATSG's shares over a 5-year period, ATSG says. The aircraft will be leased to Amazon.com's Fulfillment Services division and operated by ATSG subsidiaries ABX Air and Air Transport International. ABX operates 19 767-200 freighters and 8 767-300 ERFs, the extra range freighters, while ATI's fleet includes 2 767-200 freighters, according to the Flight Global's Fleets Analyzer database. The deal calls for the aircraft to be leased for between 5 to 7 years and to be operated by ATSG for 5 years, they said. We're excited to supplement our existing delivery network by adding 20 planes to ensure air cargo capacity to support 1- and 2-day delivery services, says Amazon's Senior Vice President of Worldwide Operations and Customer Service, Dave Clark, in an ATSG release. Amazon.com did not immediately respond to a request for more information, but news follows reports in 2015 that Amazon.com had already established a trial operation using aircraft operated by ATSG. Yeah. Amazon.com had also reportedly been in discussions with other air cargo companies, including Atlas Air and Kalita Air. Setting up their own cargo operation will enable Amazon to reduce reliance on package delivery companies such as UPS and FedEx.
I think it's only a matter of time, isn't it, before drones are commonplace delivering our goods, aren't they? I mean, that's the long and the short of it. Yeah.
But it's I thought when this story came about last year, I was kind of hoping that we were going to see 767s and 777s with the Amazon logo on the side. But no, they're going to lease these aircraft from a company, so I don't think you'll see the Amazon.com logos on the side of the aircraft. Although I'm quite surprised, Amazon is such a huge
I'm surprised they don't have their own carrier.
They did. I'm surprised they didn't just buy,
DHL.
Buy 20 or 30 of these freighters and just paint them in their own colour scheme and try it. But I suppose it's cheaper to lease them off someone else. What are your thoughts on this, Neville? Amazon having their own freighter service?
I think it's some inevitability, really, isn't there? Because this is always going to be the stage where people want faster deliveries of things, and people need more logistics and more everything.
Yeah, but their stuff gets here quick anyway.
I know, it's crazy. I mean,
oh dear! Sometimes you order things and they're here with the next day.
I'll tell you what, I ordered before we did our 100th episode in the Vulcan, and I ordered a set of lights so that we could see inside there because it was a bit dark. And I ordered this is the thing that blew me away. I ordered them Sunday lunchtime and they arrived Monday morning. I don't even know how that's possible. and it came by Royal Mail.
Perhaps they secretly got some Concords and they're using Amazon.
Secretly got some Concords, right?
That's how it got here that quick. You see.
Wow, you sometimes, Carlos.
I know.
You are so delusional.
I live in another world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something wrong with you.
So how are you enjoying yourself then, Neville? Are you enjoying being on the show? But
yeah, you've treated me very, very gently, actually. Thank you very much for doing that. It's really good, guys, and very much appreciated.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for coming on. So we haven't got a segment from Pip, as we said, but we're going to have a quick break.
Yeah,
I'm
tea break.
going to quick.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some coffee in the
Yes,
percolator, so we're going to
absolutely,
have a quick coffee, and Neville's going to run off and grab a
Absolutely.
grab
It's time
a Pimm's and lemonade. I expect.
Pims and lemonade, honestly.
So we're going to come back to you and with some military news. We've got some military news, and we've have we got anything else to discuss? I don't know.
No,
if
I
we
just
have,
think that's it. Just military.
I think that's it. And
Yeah,
the military
little
stuff.
show this week.
I know
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
short show,
So
but we have, like I said, we have got quite a few guest acts in the pipeline for the next
absolutely.
for the next quite a few episodes, and hopefully we will have Rick on.
Yep, absolutely.
Soon. He's probably still asleep, I expect.
I would imagine
after
so.
his
but
long flight.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to come back to you after this.
Find this and other great shows at the Aviation Media Network.
thevoicesinyourhead.com. The Plain Talking UK podcast is a voluntary project that aims to keep you informed with the latest aviation-related stories from newswires across the globe.
Producing our content does cost money though. If you enjoy our show, why not help us keep on the air by making a donation towards the server and website hosting fees through PayPal. Any contributions would be greatly appreciated.
Are you an Amazon user? If so, why not do your shopping through the link on our website? There's no cost to yourself, and Amazon pay us a small referral fee on qualifying purchases.
To find out more about the show and to meet the team, take yourself to our website www.plaintalkinguk.com.
Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/plaintalkinguk, on Twitter via @plaintalkinguk, or get in touch via email on podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Thanks for listening.
Aviation media has long been the domain of the newspapers and magazines.
Well, not anymore. I'm Steve Vischer.
And I'm Grant McCarran, and we're bringing aviation right into your radio.
Yes, we're making aviation cool and interesting for everyone.
Hang on, aviation's always been cool. Check this out.
How cool is this? Grant, turn that down. Here at Plane Crazy Down Under, we've got pilots, engineers, air traffic controllers, industry leaders, even politicians dropping by to talk to us about the amazing world of aviation right here in Australia and occasionally New Zealand as well.
Wow, that's cooler than I thought, mate.
Find us at planecrazydownunder.com, on iTunes, or lurking about on other people's podcasts just like this one.
We've got crazy accents and lots of great aviation content.
And we promise not to talk about the cricket.
No, never. Not the cricket. Quack, 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 quack. What is cricket anyhow?
Something we win a lot. Oh, there
Oh!
And we are back. There we go. I've had refreshed the coffee mugs,
Yes.
and we're all coffeed up now. I think
How much coffee did you put
I
in
put
this
quite
thing,
a lot of coffee in there.
honestly?
I think
if you
I put-
could see the colour, honestly.
Well, it's in high definition. They should be able to see the colour of the coffee.
That is
really.
true, yes, absolutely. Yes, we've had a permanent upgrade now. It's always in HD now.
I know. So for those of you who follow the guys over at PCDU, Plane Crazy Down Under, they have released a new episode.
Yeah,
I
very good
listened
it is
to that
too.
this week, and it was really good. They had an absolutely awesome interview
From Emirates,
from
wasn't it?
Emirates,
Yeah.
which was absolutely brilliant. It was, these guys seem to manage to get some really good interviews with some quite big players in the aviation industry.
Absolutely.
But no, go over to Plane Crazy Down Under and download their latest episode. They're going to try and get as many episodes as they can out this year, but I know that those guys are really, really busy, and also I think
know
Grant's
been moving,
in the process of moving home.
Yes.
So he's quite.
He's got
busy.
a reasonable excuse for the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Do you take it? You probably listen to those guys, don't you, Neville?
A little bit. I haven't actually done much recently, but that they seem to be able to get hold of some fantastic people to interview, don't they?
They're so busy, and I think a lot of it is because they do go to the air shows and they are commentating on a lot of these air shows, aren't they? And I mean, their calendar I think is as busy as ours. I'll tell you what, we ought to chat to one or other or both of them actually, because I wonder how the incident here. Obviously with the Shoreditch, was it Shoreditch?
Shoreham, yeah.
Shoreham,
the
sorry,
yeah.
the Shoreham air crash. It'd be interesting to see how much of an effect that has had on air shows abroad, just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's mostly the UK that has suffered really, but. So we have got a few stories from the military segment to run this week.
Yep.
We tried during the break to try and get Micah on board with the software we've got, but it's kind of in a meltdown at the minute. I think we need some more preparation time to get
I need to go back to the drawing board.
I know.
Basically.
And I think we should use Blab, but then Jeff has quite a lot of issues with Blab, and we tend not to have that many issues with this.
If we end up using Blab, I will leave.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. I
Matt
hate
doesn't
it.
like Blab.
I really hate it.
Jeff's listening now going, no, Blab's okay.
He won't care what I think.
I know. No, I mean, Jeff gets on okay with Blab, I think, but it does have a few teething issues every now and again. We seem to get on okay with the vMix that we run here.
I like this.
I think the problem with Blab as well, really, is that it's quite bandwidth hungry, and so often the guys are in the hotel Wi-Fi environments, and those are notoriously unreliable and choppy. So it's very difficult to get a good signal.
I have to confess, I'm a bit of a lover of what I call linear TV, if you like. I like the option of being able to choose what my viewer is listening or watching to, perhaps. But I know certainly in the environment that Jeff quite often uses, and I wonder if because he's able to do it from one laptop. And I wouldn't be able to do that here. There's no two ways about it.
No, we have quite a lot of equipment here.
That's the only reason we have the TriStar van. It's just because it does. If we do it outside broadcast,
my good old TriStar van never lets me down.
Oh dear. Anyway, enough of all this drivel.
So we are gonna go with some military news then. If everyone's ready,
definitely.
Are you ready to go, Neville? With a bit.
Off we go.
Oh, good. Here we go then. So first news story for military segment this week. On Flight Global, the Italian Typhoons show versatility during the Red Flag debut. The Italian Air Force has for the first time deployed some of its Eurofighter Typhoons to a Red Flag series exercise in the USA, with 8 of the aircraft at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. Drawn from its 4th, 36th and 37th fighter wings and deployed from Grosseto Air Base, the detachment includes 3 aircraft in the Eurofighter program's latest P1 EB software standard and 5 Tranche 1 examples. The former are at times being operated carrying a Rafael Lightning 3 target pod and a pair of inert GBU-16 Paveway 2 laser-guided bombs. Detachment Commander Colonel Marco Bertoli says the demonstration of the Typhoon swing roll capability during Red Flag, which includes releasing GBU-16s intended to support the Italian industry's efforts to export the type. The Italian Air Force would only consider using this air-to-surface functionality in very specific low-intensity scenarios, he adds. The service already operates at its AMX and Panavia Tornado IDS strike aircraft in the close air support and ground attack roles, and will also be introducing the Lockheed Martin F-35 to frontline service in this decade. Eurofighter will be the backbone of the Italian Air Force air defence for the coming years, Bertoli notes, also referring to its primary role for the nation. 6 Typhoons are being flown on 2 missions per day, including the exercise, with Italy having sent 24 pilots to participate in the manoeuvres, its total commitment of around 180 personnel. Turkey also deployed 6 F-16s and 2 Boeing KC-135R tankers to Red Flag, while multiple US Air Force types involved included Boeing B-1Bs and B-52 bombers, F-16s and F-15s. So we picture on the screen there, if Matt just blitz that up on the screen. There we go. One of the Eurofighter Typhoons, which we've seen quite a few times at the air shows last year at Riyadh, especially Riyadh. There was quite a few of those at Riyadh, which are awesome to see, and also absolutely deafened me when one of these taxied up to the flight line at Riyadh last year, and that kind of made my ears kind of hurt slightly. Just But any thoughts, Neville, while you're there for on the military side of things here with the Eurofighter?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible aircraft, isn't it? A fantastic amount of capability. The thing that interests me about the military, I have no expertise in this area at all, but if you just think about it, that the military are always responding to politicians, effectively government requests about the security of their country and international events. And with the lead time that there must be on producing aircraft and aircraft carriers and training crews, they must always be on the back foot, and responding to the world events in the current climate must be absolutely impossible. And I just do not know how the military work in that respect. It must be extremely challenging to get logistics and aircraft and people in the right place at the right time, depending on the threat that people are responding to.
Yeah, it's a massive undertaking by all the forces involved, including the Royal Air Force. You know, they're quite stretched, I think, in this country. You'll probably agree, Neville. You know, the Royal Air Force are quite stretched in the country to provide, and plus we haven't got. I think we still haven't got yet not the maritime surveillance aircraft, have we?
That's right.
In the UK yet, so we have to rely on other countries to help us out in that respect. But so next story, moving on Flight Global.
Yeah, the next story is Flight Global. It's USAF to begin converting L model Blackhawks into HH-60Gs. The US Air Force expects to begin converting 21 second-hand US Army L model Blackhawks to the HH-60G Pavehawk standard for combat rescue missions later this year. Introduced during the Reagan administration in 1982, the Sikorsky H-60-based Pavehawk fleet has depleted from 112 down to 97 helicopters since the type's introduction. 50 of those remaining 97 platforms have sustained battle damage over the course of the 15,000, wow, that's a huge number, isn't it? 15,000 rescue missions since 2001, mostly in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Air Force has already spent $372 million developing and purchasing modification kits for those 21 Blackhawks, and another $71 million is earmarked in the service's fiscal year 2017 and 18 for budget plans to complete the project and insert them into the Pararescue Force, service budget documents have noted. In written testimony to a congressional panel on rotorcraft modification on the 16th of March, the service says that $91.4 million has been requested for fiscal 2017 to support modernisation of the HH-60G fleet, even as the new Sikorsky HH-60W combat rescue helicopter enters development for fielding in 2020. Of that money, the majority begins conversion of the analogue cockpit UH-60Ls by adding Pavehawk's capabilities like an air refueling probe, colour weather radar, and forward-looking infrared sensor. The Pavehawk capacity has been a major problem for the Air Force since its cancellation of the Combat Search and Rescue, that's the CSARX program, which would have procured 141 Boeing HH-47 Chinooks. Oh, I do love a Chinook.
You know, but you know, obviously we've talked about the UH-60 before, the Pavehawks and that. And I'm not a massive helicopter fan. You know, I've obviously been on a helicopter.
I just realised I left that on the wrong camera, didn't I?
I know you put it on the wrong camera. It doesn't matter. But I've got to say, these are, you know, if I had a top sort of 5 of helicopters, this would definitely be in my top 5. Love this helicopter, you know, to look at, and it's quite an awesome machine. Saw one of these up close a few years back at Riyadh as well, and they are we covered a story actually. Was it a few weeks ago? We covered a story there. They might be considering converting some of these into civilian use, Neville.
Yes, that would be pretty nice, wouldn't it? And I seem to remember, although I never went on the service, that there was actually a helicopter service between Heathrow and Gatwick many years ago. Where if you ended up landing at Gatwick and you were flying off from Heathrow, there was actually about a 30 or 40 person helicopter service that took you from one airport to the other. Those were the days.
Yeah, I bet.
Helicopter services at there. There's enough going on there now without helicopters as well.
Quite. Imagine, you know, the airspace congestion anyway around those areas. But in fact, actually, what should be just a short trip on the M25 from one airport to the other never is it? It's awful,
No.
absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So next story on Flight Global, and Lockheed's long-running F-16 line in Fort Worth going cold.
Oh, right.
Wow, that's been going for a long while. The 45th anniversary of the F-16 lightweight fighter's first flight, Lockheed Martin faces the very real prospect of turning off Fighting Falcon production, as prospective customers like Pakistan struggle to clear the US government's regulatory and funding process. After assembling more than 4,500 F-16s in almost 140 different configurations, the Fort Worth, Texas production line is thawing from hot to lukewarm and could go cold by the end of 2017 after Lockheed delivers the remaining 7 of 36 Iraqi F-16 IQs to the Iraqi Air Force. Lockheed's F-16 program chief Susan Alt said last week that several countries have expressed a strong preference for the F-16 to the US government, but the nearest opportunity is almost $700 million deal with Pakistan for 8 Block 52 jets powered by Pratt & Whitney F-100 229s. In a recently cleared a 30-day notification period in Congress after being approved by the US State Department in February, but concerns about the foreign military financing of the arms package means that Pakistan may need to come up with the money on its own. They're working hour by hour and day by day with the US government to try and get through the political wickets, says Outs, and there's still a hoop of what's affordable from a Pakistan fully funded program in perspective. They're anticipating that before the end of May this year, they'll have a positive indication from Pakistan that they are buying some quantity of jets and that they hope it's around 8. Lockheed has already begun procuring vital long lead components in the hope of securing another contract, but without locking new customers soon, production will be turned off next year. That's a bit of a sad story, really. The F-16 has been going for a heck of a long time.
Yeah.
Seen these many times at air shows, including Malta last year.
Yeah.
The Belgian Air Force had their solo F-16 display jet there, and I'm guessing.
Well, and both the F-15 and the F-16. I mean, they're such famous aircraft, aren't they?
I'm guessing you must have seen the F-16 quite a few times at air shows, Neville.
Yeah, definitely. And I was just thinking about the funding that you were talking about just there. And if you want to burn money, military is the way to go, isn't it? The budgets associated with this stuff are just eye-watering. And unless you're in the Middle East or somewhere like that, there would never be enough money to have all the military capability that you would ever need. And I think a lot of countries are having to think very seriously about how they deploy military operations in the future, because the threats are not necessarily the traditional ones. There are cyber threats and all sorts of other things going on now. So maybe there is quite a big rethink required.
Yeah, absolutely.
So moving on to the last story, and then we're going to have a little chat with Neville. I think.
Yes,
we'll have a little chat with Neville. So the last story then, Matt.
Yes, this is on Flight Global again, and the headline is Skunk Works pushes investment in F-22 and F-35 over new aircraft. Lockheed Martin has warned against rushing into a 6th-generation fighter program sorry, I've done it again. 1 second. Sorry, Lockheed Martin has warned against rushing into a 6th-generation fighter program without first boosting the F-35 Lightning II numbers and implementing a robust modernization program to keep 5th-generation F-22s and F-35s capable against new counter-air threats. The Pentagon plans to buy 2,443 F-35s, but the program has been delayed by 6 years and almost doubled in cost compared to projections in 2001 because of problems during development. However, Lockheed's Skunk Works chief says once fully fielded, the combination of the F-22s and the F-35s will achieve the air dominance that America desires for the next 30 to 40 years. The quicker we can get a force structure that's heavily populated by 5th-generation airplanes, the better, says Rob Wise, who has led Lockheed's Advanced Development Program Office since 2013, or 2013, sorry, I should say. There's often that debate, isn't there, whether at this stage it should be 2013 2013 or 2013. We should minimise the investment in fourth-generation planes, nothing beyond what is needed to maintain the force structure, because obviously fourth-generation airplanes aren't leaving the force structure immediately. His comments made at a Lockheed media event in Washington, D.C. this week come as the Air Force and Navy conduct an analysis of their future air dominance. Needs more specifically something to replace the Boeing F/A-18 Super Hornet and perhaps the F-15, as we mentioned earlier. The two services are working together in common components like propulsion systems and defensive suits, but will likely press forward with separate fighter platforms tailored to their different needs. The Air Force has suggested that some companies like Lockheed might push block upgrades of existing aircraft as an air dominance solution instead of an entirely new aircraft, but Northrop Grumman and Boeing need some way to break back into the high-end combat jet market. Northrop builds the F-35 center fuselages and has the B-21 strategic bomber contract, but Boeing has nothing to succeed its F/A-18 and F-15s at its military aircraft plant in St. Louis since its X-32 lost to the F-35 for the winner-takes-all joint strike fighter contract in 2001.
Now, I'm looking forward to seeing the F-35 at RIAT this year. It's been confirmed being at RIAT this year.
Yeah.
Are you heading off to RIAT this year, Neville?
No, I'm not actually, Carlos, but I'd love to go one year, certainly. And I'm quite busy around about that time, actually. But it's definitely going to be on my list of things to do next time round.
You're actually hoping to go to both, aren't you? You're going to be at, you are going to both. You're going to be at Farnborough and...
I hope so. Booked accommodation for
absolutely.
both.
Yeah. Yes.
No, we hopefully...
And I'll be there if I can.
So that was the last military story for this week. So... we'll have a quick chat with Nevil then before we finish the show. Just sort of get a bit of a background of how your passion for aviation started, then, Nevil.
Yeah. I'm not really sure, but I think my parents were always very interested in aviation, and they both were. At one stage or another for British Aerospace at Hatfield many years ago on both civil and military operations there. And I got to the stage where I thought really that I probably really wanted to be a pilot about 19 or 20 years old. But honestly, my ability to pass exams was so poor at school, I left with just 2 O levels when I was 16. And really the minimum requirement there was to stay on for A levels and university education, and that just wasn't me at all. So I ended up my first ever job when I was 16 could not be more different from the subjects that we're talking about now. And just up the road from me, when I used to live in Watford in Hertfordshire, was Elstree Studios, and it's still there now. But they used to make the Muppet Show there, and my first ever job was working on the sound crew on the Muppet Show. In 1978.
I'm so jealous.
I'm so jealous. 35 years later, I'm still working with a load of Muppets. I've had a very, very fortunate career outside of aviation, but still maintaining an interest within it. And actually, my partner, her father worked at Hawker Siddeley at Hatfield for many years as well on the 146 aircraft, and that's still actually one of my favourite planes as well. Terribly underrated aircraft, I think, but the 2 or 3 times I've flown on the 146, or the RJ as it is now known. A really, really nice aircraft, very nicely made.
Yeah, lovely.
You've any aspirations to learn to fly, Neville?
I'd love to do that. I think that
it's too expensive.
The cost associated with it is just incredible. I mean, absolutely hats off to you and Matty Fab and everybody else that's doing it. I think it's a fantastic thing to do. We've got some very good flying schools, locally to me here near to Oxford, High Wycombe, Denham, all that part of the world. So there's no shortage of capability. There is a shortage in my bank account, though, and even if there wasn't, there certainly would be at the end of it. I would love to do it, but I think this is going to be, if I do end up doing something, this is going to be something way into the future, I have to say.
Excellent. Well, we should ask really if there's any questions from anyone in the chat room. You're normally in the chat room, Neville, so
he's normally the one giving us the questions.
You're normally
to
the
ask
one
our
giving
guests.
Exactly.
Mind you, that the closest I did get to flying was
look at this.
was this. I got my Concorde simulator.
Simulator.
Oh wow!
How lucky.
Experience. Down at Brooklands, and the nice thing about it is, apart from the fact that my other half bought it for me, was that it is actually staffed by ex-Concorde crew.
Oh, cool!
And so when they moved the simulator from Filton up to Weybridge, they completely decommissioned it, and they put all new graphic systems and visual systems in and projectors into it. So talking to the Concorde crews, they were saying actually the simulator that they've got there now is actually far better than the thing they trained on all the way back in the 70s. And it's a very popular museum at Brooklands. I don't know if any of you guys have been there at all, but I really do recommend
places
it.
to go, I think.
Fascinating place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it sounds like a place I need to go, I think, isn't it? I have much to learn.
we say it all the time. This Concorde should never have gone, really. It should still be here now.
No.
But no, any sort of aspirations for the future then in regards to aviation at all? Then Neville, anything you sort of fancy trying?
Yeah, I'd actually like to work in the aviation business, even if it wasn't as aircrew. I'd like to find a way of getting into that at some stage. I mean, today, I'm in the broadcast and audio-visual business, and that's the one I've been in really for nearly 40 years. But as a complete change of career, one day I would like to find a way of actually working at an airport. We're actually doing some work for Heathrow at the moment. They hopefully will become a client of ours one day. So that's given me a nice opportunity to talk to them about aviation and also sell some of our solutions into there as well, hopefully. So that's sort of a hybrid of what I want to do. Really.
Are we allowed to ask what the solutions are? Because I'm a bit of a media nut, so. Or is it all cloak and dagger, hush hush type?
It is a bit, but typically, we supply large and small scale solutions into companies for small television studios or into universities for that kind of thing. Large audiovisual systems for corporate visitor centres, museums, and that kind of thing. So anywhere where you need to display things, basically.
Right. Fantastic. Yes, you need to come and visit our studio and sort it out for us.
Come over here.
I think you guys have done really well, actually. The capability that you've got now is absolutely fantastic, and it's amazing, isn't it? The bang for the buck that you can get. The amount of capability that you can get from equipment now without spending an absolute fortune on it is incredible. It really impresses me, I must say.
Well, I mean, I think thinking about it, I mean, I think the most, what is it? I mean, the program cost us about £300, didn't it? Just over
VMix.
The VMix program. The tower, I think, cost me about £300, although I've got to do some more upgrades to it. I need to improve memory and things like that. And I mean, other than I don't suppose we can include the laptops, but I mean, really, it's cost about £1,000, hasn't it, to get it so that we can do something on YouTube. But I mean, which is a huge number. Don't get me wrong, but you think perhaps even if you go back 10, 15 years and you wanted to do this sort of thing now, I mean, it'd be impossible, wouldn't it? I mean, YouTube really is an amazing piece of technology in the fact that they give you free access to being able to broadcast to hundreds and potentially millions of people completely free. It's crazy.
I think also the infrastructure associated with it as well. I've now finally got fibre broadband into the house, and that's made a massive difference in terms of reliability. But of course, we've got I think the whole country just needs a big upgrade because we've all got these smartphones. We've all got these things which are bandwidth and infrastructure hungry. If we haven't got that, it won't matter how much capability we have in our studio environment or our broadcast environment. If we can't get it out the door reliably, then there's no point in having it.
And it's certainly I know we're completely off topic here, I know, but certainly I know in our rural area that we live, because we live right on the Norfolk-Suffolk border, so as you can imagine, sort of decent broadband signals and things are a real impossibility almost. I mean, we do struggle sometimes to get the show on the air, but it is amazing. Actually, interesting enough, I was watching a programme on the BBC News first thing this morning from Click, where they've found a system where they can broadcast at 1.5 terabytes a second, I think it was. Built a new transmitter.
Wow.
And all they have to do, they don't have to change the fibre optic cable between the two. They can just they just have to change the transponder and the receiver. Anyway, this has got nothing to do with aviation. I don't know why I'm talking about it.
We're off on one now, aren't we?
No, I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's sort of systems and stuff on board aircraft now. We talk about Wi-Fi and that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connectivity on aircraft, is big business now.
It is big business.
Definitely big business. I've only ever used it once with Emirates, but my experience of the Wi-Fi on board on the 380 was that it was quick.
Yeah.
I was uploading pictures on Facebook and WhatsApp with
no, tell the truth. What you were doing was sending me annoying pictures of you in a very comfortable location.
Oh yeah.
Using WhatsApp.
Could I just ask you guys just one question though? With all this connectivity that we've now got on aircraft, which is fantastic, that's a massive step forward. What about this big question about taking phone calls of an aircraft? I mean, I would be seriously irritated by that, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know about what you two guys think.
For me, I don't like people taking. I've only ever experienced it once on an aircraft, but people taking phone calls. I think there's no need for it at all.
No, there's not. No.
I mean, for me, sending photos and stuff to family members on WhatsApp, as Matt,
but that's not
fun.
That's not intrusive, is it? Because you're not saying it. You're just typing a few things and that kind of thing. But as you say, I don't know. I completely agree with you guys. I think that would be absolutely horrific, wouldn't it?
And quite rightly, like Mike has just put in the chat room, that it saddens him that people can't be happy enough flying around the world at 600 miles an hour and are angry when they can't watch Netflix.
I know. Yeah, I know. They just don't get it, do they?
I love having a window seat, and I love taking photos, albeit on my mobile phone, out of the window of the scenery and sights that you can see when you're flying around the world.
Me, on the other hand, I'm grabbing hold of both armrests and praying,
No, one of the things that annoys me as well is when you're on a flight during the day and you're flying over some of the stunning scenery around Europe, and you've got someone sitting next to you or across the aisle with a window you can see, and they've got the shade down so you can't see anything.
Yeah.
If you,
I mean, it's not so bad at night, I suppose. If you're sort of like way above.
Oh,
the clouds.
nighttime is pretty fantastic to see.
Is it?
Some of the scenery at night, a few years back we had a flight on around bonfire, fireworks night, 5th November.
Yeah.
And seeing fireworks from that high is quite interesting, I must admit.
Yeah, Jen's just put, actually most people take the flying for granted. They don't understand or care about how awesome it actually is. I mean, it's an amazing feat of engineering, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Paul's just said, here's a thought. Ban all phones, tablets, laptops on board flights. All look out the window or take a book.
Yeah. Take a book. That's a good bit of advice there, Paul.
Yeah, not
take
a tablet.
Yeah. Take a book. Being as I work for one of the biggest book manufacturers in the UK and probably the world now.
Yes.
Yes, buy a book, paperback book. Buy them from an airport, definitely. Keeps me in business.
Well, there is that. Yes, absolutely. Oh dear. Right. Well, I think that's where we have to
bring the episode to a close.
Yeah. Before we move on, I'm just going to quickly read out here. We were talking, obviously, at the top of the show. We were talking about the Russian plane crash, and this is on the BBC News website. This was the latest update. Was about an hour ago, just before we started, and it says Russia plane crash. Investigators have successfully recovered the flight recorder. So investigators examining the cause of a plane crash in southern Russia say that they have found both flight recorders. The fly-by Boeing 737-800 crashed in southern Russian city of Rostov-on-Don, killing all 62 people on board. That's the very latest on obviously the terrible news that we started our show.
So they've got the data in the black boxes, the recorders, which is good. They can get to it straight away and find out what caused this terrible accident. So.
Yes. So as we bring the show to a close, then it will just say
we're going to have to say a huge thank you to Nevil for jumping in
at the very last
moment today. So Nevil,
well, you're very welcome, guys. And obviously, I can't compete at all with your original guest that we're going to have. But as a second best, I'm delighted to be asked.
Oh no, it's nice. Pleasure. It's nice to have you on. It's definitely nice to have you on, Nevil. Have a good chat.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I think we should have a little series of regular listeners to the show.
Yeah, I think we should perhaps do every, once a month we should pick a random listener.
At the end of the day, they're all going to know an awful lot more than I do about aviation, so it would be quite nice for
You're
me
learning, mate.
Yeah,
You're learning.
not fast enough. Oh dear. Anyway,
so we're going to say a big thank you to everyone who's joined us in the chat room.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's been lots and lots of people in the chat room
lucky,
today. Jennifer Shortbacker, Mila has also been in there as well. Happy birthday to you, Mila, for your birthday. Marsha's been there. Paul, Micah, Jenny in Rome.
The lovely Jenny.
Thank you for joining us, Jenny. Hope your weather's better than it is here in the UK. Graham, Pilot Pip was also in there.
Yeah.
Pip, could you please get your segment in for the next show?
Oh, stop it! Leave him alone.
Matty Fab was also in there as well. And
of course Neville.
And of course Graham, and Graham as well. Graham Haley's been in there as well. Don't forget Graham.
Yeah.
But no, thank you ever so much, Neville, for joining us on the episode. You've been an absolute legend. Thanks a lot for your time.
Very nice, guys. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me.
A pleasure.
So that's it. So we're going to bring episode number 104 to a close. Thanks again for everyone who's listened to us. Don't forget to find us on iTunes for the audio podcast.
Yep.
And also look for us on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, so to find us on Facebook, it is facebook.com / Plain Talking UK. Our Twitter handle is at Plain Talking UK. To find us on YouTube, it is youtube.com / Plain Talking UK. And when we're doing a live show, you can get straight to the show now by using youtube.com / Plain Talking UK / live.
Not forward splash.
Not forward splash. No. That's a new
You'll
thing.
never find that key on a keyboard.
Forward splash. Not unless you've knocked your coffee over, anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, on that particular bombshell, from all of us here, and of course Neville, who stepped into the breach at the very last moment. Give us a wave, Neville.
See you guys.
Yay.
Thanks so much indeed.
From all
Take
of us,
care, everyone. Have a great weekend.
From all of us here in the studio, it is goodbye.
Bye.